This is Remo Daily, your daily dose of inspiration.
I would love to welcome our guest on the show. I just wanted to give you a quick introduction to Anita's channel on YouTube, so you get just a little glimpse into her work. Here we go.
Anita Yokota, licensed therapist and interior designer. I was a licensed therapist for over 15 years. My dad was an architect. My mom's a real estate broker. I had the love of design in my blood. When I walk into a home, my designer brain and my therapist brain goes all into full motion. What makes my method so special is that we start with the why in the space. And you might ask, what do you mean the why? Once you can identify the reason of why you're renovating, so say if it's a bathroom and there's two cramped people in there and they're always like power struggling over the bathroom sink, then that's the relational why. It's I want to improve my relationship with my partner in this space. I can help them not only design an outdated kitchen, but also improve their family relationships. Okay. Teenagers. Not only am I a therapist, a designer, but I'm also a mom of 3. And busy as it is, I still want to make my home as cozy and warm as possible. My channel is very DIY focused because Travis and I, my DIY partner in crime, love getting our hands dirty. How long is this gonna take?
10 minutes. What?
Really?
Yeah.
And having that sense of satisfaction, good job, saying that we did it ourselves.
Anita has these really grand ideas, and they do drive me crazy sometimes. Of course, when I actually see the end result, then I get it.
I'm really excited to share our personal DIY journey with you and have you along for the ride.
You're fine. Then you put your hands in here and kind of crawl like a You're fine.
You can do it. You can do it, honey.
For more home therapy sessions, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh my God, what an honor to welcome her live on Remote Daily. Anita Yokota, so good to have you with us today.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be with all of you. It's just great to meet new friends and talk about personalizing our spaces.
So there was marriage and family therapist, and then there was a real estate professional, and then you became an interior design samurai. What prompted you to move into interior design in the first place?
Well, Felix, as a therapist for now 20 years, I helped people make sense of their story. But now as a designer, I really get to tell it in their homes. And that's what really excited me was the creativity piece, the visual, the tactile, So how we draw the emotions out into our sanctuary, into our Zen spaces, so that we truly can work and feel better at home.
Well, I have to say, as a marriage and family therapist, you have seen it all. You have seen how cruel we can be to each other and how wonderful and how messy it is for people to spend their lives together and to separate and to come back together and to go through all these motions that marriage and family provides. But you actually said that you noticed during your time when you were practicing as a therapist that your clients' homes, and I find this a very touchy and emotional subject, your clients' homes often mirrored their emotional issues. And I have to sit on the second for a moment. Your home often mirrors your emotional issues. Can you give us some examples of how that looks like? What sort of things you noticed in people's spaces that made you learn that?
Well, even when I was intern as a marriage and family therapist, one of the first things that we observed and practiced in helping people's emotional climate is to just step in through their front door and observe as a detective, or someone who's a third party, and observe their home climate. So whether it's the lack of the lack of organization literally in the front entryway, if you're already tripping over the shoes and the jackets that's falling down and the mess, you immediately can just make a note. It's not a judgment, but an observation like, this is interesting. Right through the gate, I'm already, met with some chaos, right? Or I had in very different homes. Some were extremely sterile, like like overly clean. And it felt like a very sterile environment. So it may look pretty or it looked organized, but there was no emotion. There was no, it didn't feel lived in. And that was another clue to me of, okay, so how are the relationships in here? Do they connect? Are they even emotional with themselves? Are they able to be vulnerable with each other? So it can be, telling as far as right when you get in is the entryway or the bathroom or the kitchen. There's some clues that you can look into your own home spaces and go, what are the spaces that constantly just make me sigh or constantly make me feel frustrated? And those are wonderful starting points of how you can problem solve.
Wow. Okay. I guess I would describe my home as exactly sterile. I think I'm more on Jay Stu's side, who just shared in the chat. I'm in trouble then, bordering on hoarding, which is wonderful rhyme. When you walk into our home, it's like there's the shoes, and then there's I shouldn't say it, but it's a very dusty floor mat. And then you enter and you're in the middle of everything because it's a small New York City apartment. And you're immediately hit by whoever from the family's like home. And I wonder what that means about us as a family. Is it like when you get invited to a dinner, do you sometimes share? Do you say, just a little hint, when I walked in here, I noticed something. Do you can you ever stop your brain from doing that?
I am very good at compartmentalizing because, first of all, you want your friendships to stay intact because your friends probably not necessarily appreciate you being the little judge or even if it's out of the best intention, it's as a therapist and as a designer too, because you're walking into their most intimate spaces. It's less coming in as the expert and more coming parallel. So it's instead of this, it's more this is like, if it's in your face kind of problem, when I did home visit therapist and now I do home visits as a designer, it's more posing questions. It's more posing friendly. I'm just wondering, and this is a really great tip for just communication, positive communication in general with your coworkers or your boss or your partner or even your kids. Just really curious. Is this like working for, I'm feeling like it's not for you to the full potential. So that's something that I always respond to. If I see frustration around me, I could then jump in, but I really try to compartmentalize and not be the therapist. I think I'd lose quite a few.
Well, I mean, Kara's just put in the chat, right? I mean, when you have little humans around you, there's just no way to explain to them the beauty of orderly things being put in certain corners and maybe decorated with a plant or something. There's just no way. And I mean, the pandemic enhanced this because out of a sudden we were all locked down at home and chaos became even more extreme. So I feel like now we're in this like sort of hybrid mode. A lot of us still work from home, and a lot of the workplaces that we actually inhabit are still not great. They're still sort of makeshift, and we don't have the right chairs, we don't have the right lighting. It's still a mess in a lot of people's lives that work from home. So when you talk to people now, what are like the first things that you ask, let's just take me or Karis, who just shared in the chat, to figure out how we can not like freak out about our spaces, but make them empower us and support our mental health? Like, what are the first things you really ask someone?
Well, now it's with design clients, but even back with therapy clients, I treat it very much like my intake consultation. Like your first session with your therapist, there's an intake form, right? There's like questions. And so for me, when I walk into a client for like whether we're going to restyle a room or gut the whole home, I really just delve into how, who are you in this space? Who are the people that live in this space? What are your challenges? So if it's a bedroom, what are your challenges with your sleep? Who lives in this space? Me and my partner. I sleep terrible. I have acid reflux from the stress every day, and I can't get myself to sleep till 1 a.m. And so I really delve into wellness questions. I delve into relational questions, because it's easy to spot the broken furniture, the outdated paint, the dilapidated kitchen cabinets, but that's just surface level. The most meaningful renovations and just even smaller styling projects are when clients come to me and say, I want to stop fighting with my kids about the entryway, or I have a 3 and 5-year-old. How am I supposed to keep this family room clean? Like, come on, be real. And I then get a very clear idea of, oh, okay, this is really the struggle. This is the relational struggle in this space. How do I take that inner world struggle and get it out into the outer world and problem solve? So, like you mentioned, they're little beings. How they're supposed to know that things go back? Well, there's little visual tools like baskets and under the couch storage for small space living. So there's all kinds of ways that, look pretty on the outside, but really they're organizing and pulling double duty, using acrylic trays that are clear for your remotes and your maybe Nintendo or whatever, if you have kids, teenagers, whatever. But it's like acrylic tray where it lets light in more so that your small space feels bigger. Like, there's so many small ways that once you first find the relational intention, like, I don't want to fight with my partner anymore in this small bathroom. We're rubbing elbows every morning. I want to wake up and smile at him or her or they, like, this is the most important key. So asking yourself in your space, what is my intention? What is my relational core desire? And then going from there, the design stuff really falls naturally into place.
Wow. Do you actually work from home these days?
So I predominantly work from my house, yes. And I have it's kind of like a WeWork kind of thing. If I really need to get out, I will, go to a little space. But in general, my husband and I, we run a design construction business from home, and it is very challenging. So for everyone, I not only help others solve problems, but I face that reality every day too.
And this was beautiful in your video when you were interrupted by your own children, and then you had your partner Travis reflect on how you are. I found that was just wonderful and very honest. And all of this led to your book, Home Therapy: Interior Design for Increasing Happiness, Boosting Confidence, and Creating Calm. We just had a little bit of a glimpse into the concept and your journey led to this book. It came out just a few weeks ago, December 2022. It's how popular is it? Are you happy with the sales and the reactions that you're getting from people?
It's been thrilling. It's hit the Amazon bestseller list on the different home decor categories. And for me, the most exciting part is because, making a book is a labor of love, as they always say. And it's very true. Is it takes 2.5, 3 years. And so finally it's out, and I get to share with you and all on here these wonderful ideas, especially for me. It's groundbreaking. There really hasn't been a therapist and designer put together to help people delve into a deeper idea of the meaning of home. And, during the pandemic, I think all of us really reevaluated a lot of how is my home going to work for me? Like, I used to be out and about, so it's so foreign to
Yes.
actually four walls 24/7 now, and it, as you can see, even through social media, or maybe your own friends, it impacted the relationships a lot of being in the house with another
Mhm.
person or being by yourself, with no one in your space, is
Mhm.
sides of the same coin. It it really highlighted and shown the flashlight of who we are, what's our intention. It made us reevaluate all of our psyche.
Yes, and you said it beautifully. This is why we started Remote Daily, because everybody was under pressure. The people who were taking care of others, and the people who were alone by themselves, and the people who were in relationships. Everybody was under a certain kind of extreme pressure that all had to do with home. I just talked to an interior designer firm that we work with, F. Schumacher and Co. And the CEO said, you know what? A lot of people realized that they didn't have doors anymore at home, because we all started to get rid of doors, and the living room morphed into the kitchen, and the kitchen morphed into the bedroom. And out of a sudden, we needed space at home to be by ourselves to work. And there wasn't any. So he actually said, doors are probably going to be in fashion soon again. People are starting to realize,
Oh,
I actually need a door at home. And you created a toolbox now with your book, that a best-selling book, congratulations, where questions are actually posed as a therapist would ask them in session, including an intake form. And then you offered these tools to change habits and shift mindsets. And the pages are not only filled with that toolbox that you took so much effort into creating for everyone, you also filled them with gorgeous home interiors, many pictures from your own home that we also saw in the YouTube clip, and with a lot of tips and tricks. So what I'm going to do right now, and as I'm solo producing, forgive me if anything happens, but I'm going to try my best to share a few images from your book, Anita. And I ask you to just, take us into your books and into these beautiful images, and share a little bit of your why and the selection and context behind them.
okay.
So where are we here?
Okay, so to your left is an entryway. And this is something, again, that we've talked, just now about, but we are, we're back out into the world. And I don't know about you, but it is just back in, I found myself a lot back into that hustle and bustle mindset. And I really love to create moments of pause and staying present. We hear about it all the time, but it takes a lot of effort, right? Like going into that automatic pilot mode, especially when we're at home, is is easier to do than to make that to make a intentional moment. So I think the entryway is an integral part of that transition between letting go of the outside, the busyness, and coming in, taking that pause, using the home therapy tools, which I'll share a little bit, and then being mindful of, okay, who am I going to greet and converse with now that I'm going to, take that pause? What are my intentions for the rest of the night? Instead of just going, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm taking off my jacket. Oh, I'm greeted by my dogs and kids. And then you're going into your phase 2 of hustle and bustle. So I I love using hooks to just small space living again, vertical space. And I love using inspirational art, whether it's a sentimental photo or like I love quotes. This is a very interesting client. They're Japanese American, and they are very into the Zen moments. And so they have some podiatry issues, like feet issues. And so we talked about acupressure and creating a ritual. And so in that tray, you can see lotion and some, that will kind of incite your olfactory system to calm down. And then on the floor, you'll see the acupressure feet tool. And it's just a moment for them to get back into their bodies and stay present. And then obviously have their comfy slippers. And that ritual helped them go from busy, busy, busy to, whew, okay, what
Wow.
next phase? And so I really want to encourage all of you to think of intentional moments and spaces where you can set yourself up for those present moments, because it's not just about saying I'm going to be present, right? It takes some acclimation. And then right is my bedroom. And this is where we use a lot of colors and textures and visuals to, again, increase your calmness. Our bedroom used to be, especially when our kids were little, a dumping ground of dirty and clean laundry all on the bed. Toys.
Never heard of that.
Like our bedroom was just another bedroom for the kids. And once they got a little bit older, I had someone very thoughtfully and kindly say to me, she was another interior designer friend. She came in and saw the mess. And she's like, Anita, you might want to take back this room for yourself, Travis. And that very, because I'm like, how am I going to do that? My kids are like still little. She's like, there's a way. And there really was a way. So it showed me that intention is truly, truly powerful. And so we now, the kids are a little bit older, but they have their own responsibility for laundry. And we've taken back our room into something and using plants and the color green. Automatically, research has shown certain colors increase our serotonin and dopamine levels. So,
yeah, and even looking at it, I can already feel it. Like it's such an amazing vibe that this room is breathing, and it immediately makes me calmer just by looking at it. Same with the entryway. I do need to work on my entryway. Just putting this out there into the public right now. So next image is the kitchen. Again, there is something there that just does something to me just by looking at it, but I don't know what it is. What is it?
I think it's first and foremost, you're not staring just at a bank of upper kitchen cabinets. So I was very, very brave. This is actually my kitchen. And my husband really thought I was crazy. He's like, you're going to get rid of all the upper kitchen cabinets? And I'm like, yup. And he's like, we have kids. Where are we going to hide all the sippy cups and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we're going to just literally use what we are going to use. And I am just all the upper cabinets that was storing dusty old cups and things, we are going to rehome them to people who will actually use it. We're not just going to throw it away. We're very intentional about giving away certain things to certain people that would truly benefit and enjoy. And I am testament that even with 3 kids, we put the plastic cups and stuff in a drawer instead. That's easily accessible for the kids. But what you see there is what we truly use every day. So yes, we wash the dishes a little bit more, but nothing ever gets dusty because there's no time for it to get dusty.
Fantastic.
People ask me, well, aren't the things going to get really dusty? No, because we actually use it like constantly. So talk about minimalistic living. It's a lifestyle choice, but even in a busy family, modify it to something that's doable for you. It's still extremely doable to edit down and not have all that clutter. So I think
I'll never forget. I'll never forget apartment hunting in New York City. And the first apartment I looked at, the broker said, look at this space. It's fantastic. It's perfect for you. And I saw a cabinet behind the bed that I couldn't even open. And I asked him, what is that for? And he said, that's for all the stuff you don't need. And that was the moment where I knew I will never move into this apartment. That is just not cool. And you're doing the opposite here. you're putting everything away that you might not need, and even some things that you might need occasionally, we can still get them from somewhere else. And this is your daily life out in the open, no cabinets, no dust. I love it. So before we jump back into the office, I just wanted to take a look into the bathroom and explain your magic here. What's going on?
So this is my bathroom, and this one is actually Pinterest IG viral. Like, people just absolutely loved it. And I think it's because of the mix of using the different textures of wood and tile and stone. The walls are actually all tiled up to the ceiling to broaden. It's actually not a very big space. So during the pandemic, I actually literally worked out and meditated in this space because it literally was the only space I had for myself. So it's extra special to me, and it's testament because the vanity is really about 72 inches. So it's the length of a yoga mat. It reinforced my idea for my clients, but also for myself, that you don't need a lot of space. Like, a lot of us crave and yearn for that space, but if we make it, if the space planning is smart and we use that vertical space, and also with our intention. So it just goes back to our relationship with ourselves. This room, in my book, I talk about different domains, different layers of each room. And for me, this was a very renewal and individual moment that I created that was very intentional, that I needed to calm down, no one needing from me, and then also move my body. I needed that yoga, and that I love lifting weights. So behind the camera, there's actually a stack of weights. I did my mini boot camp in my bathroom for 2 years.
Fantastic. I love this. And it shows again how much plants influence a space, and how much intention influences a space. And I'm going to skip here to this work desk, because this is something that I think a lot of people here are struggling with every single day. What are some common mistakes that people make? I'm just going to say I make, because I also work from home. What is a common mistake that you would probably see me making, and a lot of other people that we make when we set up our workspaces at home?
I think a large mistake is maybe getting to, I don't mean to say that, how do I say this? You want to feel comfortable in your work from home spot, but you also want to make a zone. So, like, say this picture is wonderful. This is actually an ADU, which is a garage that this client turned into. To the right, you can't see it, but it's a Murphy bed. Murphy beds are up and down on the wall.
Wow.
And then I actually created an IKEA desk, but I had my husband Travis put caster wheels on the bottom, and she has a lot of meetings where her employees would come to the garage and they would have meetings. But then if they have guests, her in-laws came from Indiana, they would roll the desk away, and then it would be a little guest room. So, but for this desk, you can see it is truly a desk with stools. I don't know about you, but I'm very privy to just resting myself on a sofa or a couch with the TV on in the background for noise. And, that's good, but I think really being intentional, like, this is my work time. It's really trying to set boundaries of work time versus home time. And it's very hard from work from home, because it is your home.
Yes.
So you're like, oh, I can just wear my sweats, or I'm not going to put on makeup today, which is fine. But again, not going into autopilot, really remembering that when our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions is a loop. And so if your thought is, I want to get some done today, then your feelings are going to, yeah, I am. And then your feelings influence your action of like, okay, do I make a list? Do I, what's my first step? So really being like mindful of work from home hours, work from home spot, and being not rigid, but regulated so that everyone in the rest of the house also knows. If I don't really have any doors either, Felix, I have my work from home spot became my 14-year-old's bedroom again after the pandemic because she's like, I don't want to share with my 7-year-old sister anymore. And so I lost my home space with the door. And I really had to make true effort of designating this is my work from home space and here are my hours. For me, it's 9 to 4. And then I put away stuff at 4. And I know that's my time for my family. So having some structure, great.
I want to drill down on that for a moment, not without shouting out this amazing book. It's not only as beautiful as the images we just saw, it's also powerful, and it is already a bestseller. So get it and order it. I'll put the links in the chat in just a second. They're also there if you scroll up. Home Therapy by Anita Yokota. So I have to ask you now, Yokita, because you said just setting boundaries, and you just said, okay, put the stuff away at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. whenever you set that boundary for yourself. But how is that going to work? Like when you're in your 14-year-old, and I'm working out of my daughter's bedroom as well during the day. I even host a show there usually. So we also share that space. But how is that ever going to work? Because it's always within sight. The workplace is still there. So yes, you can have this movable desk that we just saw, but how do you do it? Like, how do you make sure you really shut off? Do you throw your laptop out the window? Do you change the lighting? Like, what do you do?
So for me, can you hear me? Because you froze up. So I don't know. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, you're not frozen anymore. Okay, so it's creating, like, I have a work from home bag, and at 4 o'clock, my laptop goes in it, all my chargers and devices, and I have a hallway closet by the front door, and it's a ritual. It's like 4 o'clock, my Apple Watch alarm goes off. Okay, and no matter how much I want to finish another email, I know this is my time to end. It's a lot of self-responsibility working from home, because there's no boss breathing down your neck. And then as far as environment, if, like I mentioned, the couch with the TV on, probably not a good idea for me. Even though I like ambient noise in the back, I'm going to start trying some light music instead or something, because I've decided that doesn't work. And being graceful to yourself, because it's not an easy environment. Try different things and different combinations. I told the client, the Container Store, Target, they had these little mini carts, and that's her little workstation. As she carts it and puts it away in the door, after work. Taking breaks is super important for work from home, because we can on the laptop for hours and not even get up. So making sure you get some fresh air, aromatherapy diffusers, taking breaks is super important. And, back to just giving yourself grace and just find little combinations and you'll get there. I promise.
Wow. So it is, if I understand correctly, it is as much about getting things out of sight so that you don't look at your laptop and even your chargers. I love that, putting everything in a bag and just but it's also the physical action of doing it, right? Because in that moment, you're taking time for yourself to transition from that work environment into the after work. And you make it very clear to yourself, to your body, to your mind that now it is over. So it has both of these functions. And I wonder though, you in your book, you have like four domains, four dimensions that you divide the home therapy into. There's the individual, the organizational, the communal, and the renewal. Yeah. So just as a last question about the book, why did you do that? Why these four sections?
So when I sat down to write the book, I thought, obviously, being a therapist is so much of my fiber. And with therapy, the best therapy still starts with individual, because I have a lot of couples or families coming in and they want me to fix each other or they want me to fix their kids. But truly, in the ideal world, individual therapy is comes first before all the other therapies. So when I talk about domains, I mean any space, big or small, in your home has these 4 layers, these dimensions. And when you talk about intention, think about, do I want to focus this space for an individual intention, or is it an organizational intention, or is it a communal, like living rooms and dining rooms? Is it someplace I want to enrich my relationships, more? Or is it renewal, which tends to be more your bedroom and bathroom? Like, how do I just mind and body and spirit, So that's why I created those 4 dimensions in the aspect of, that's how our therapeutic process goes. Many times with therapy with individuals, we first have to kind of identify ourselves and explore ourselves and unpeel the onion layers. And the second is, how do I organize my new discovery of myself? How do I build that structure so that I can have good habits or positive loops, as I say. And then communal, once I feel both strong as an individual with that structure to help me, how do I go out and reach to the people in my life? How do I improve, those relationships in my community, in my workplace? And then the 4th, process of therapy is, how do I renew myself so I can revisit and start this process again? So that's really where it came from.
Wow.
And so
I
my
feel
whole
like this
point
also.
is,
Sorry, your whole point is.
so my whole point is, we can use our home to do all these, these things through our intention and combining it with design.
And this maybe also answers a little bit of Rashad's question here. Wherever you find problems in your life, they're being resembled at home. And even if you haven't moved things around in years, you can start getting better at things by moving things in your home space and being intentional about your entryway, your workplace, your bedroom, your bathroom, which to me New York bathrooms all look the same. No, they don't have to. You can even be intentional about those. And my last question to you is, how do you envision the future of working from home? What do you see coming that might look like normal to us in 2 or 3 years?
I think it's just that there's so much emphasis on wellness, because we all realize it's too hard to just be utilitarian and, we're not robots. We're humans. So I think a lot more emphasis, like even those infrared sauna blankets, which, is an investment, but that could be something that you have in your bedroom space or on your work from home sofa nearby in a basket, and then even just moments of meditative spaces, my bathroom being my yoga, exercise space, a lot of melding that wellness aspect into our work from home schedule so that there's a longevity, so that it is sustainable.
Stay sane out there, you all, and remember, wellness starts at your home. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
This is Remote Daily.